What is up? Good afternoon. Happy Monday. Albert, how are you
Happy
doing
Monday.
today, sir?
Man, I am doing well. Uh, really digging this weather, the weather change, the
Oh
temperature
yeah.
change.
I had to wear
So,
gloves this morning. I hit the trails this morning.
what? You
My
serious?
hands were cold. I had to wear gloves.
No, I was good on gloves, but I didn't go run. I went to go work out, but it was good. It was good. Now I love this 40-degree weather and went for a walk with Julia just earlier, and it was sunny and just about maybe upper 50s. It was really good.
That's really good. No, there's no way I can get my wife out there. She is not cool with the cold, if you know what I mean. So,
Well,
but
I had to beg Julia to turn the heater on, so
oh, did you?
yeah, she likes it cold.
Well, cold is in the air, which means that winter is coming. And with winter comes the holidays. And my favorite time. There's a lot of reasons that I love the holidays. My favorite holiday is Thanksgiving, for
Yeah.
sure. The older I get, the more that Thanksgiving becomes more enjoyable than Christmas. I like Christmas. I actually like Christmas more than I did like 15 years ago. Like when I was a young parent, that was it's more enjoyable now that I'm older and have a little more freedom. But Thanksgiving, man, you just can't beat Thanksgiving.
I love Thanksgiving. We have Thanksgiving at usually multiple houses, and then we have Friendsgiving with friends. We went to a Friendsgiving event on Saturday over the weekend. Oh man, it was good.
You know when my favorite time of the holidays are is that week of silence between Christmas and New Year.
Yeah.
That's that's where I go through. I have this like routine where I go through all my video and photos on my phone, and I upload all my videos, and I just have this routine. But the best part of coming upon a new year is what we're going to talk about today. It's goal setting, but not just goal setting. It's goal tracking, accountability. So today we're going to get clarity on what it is we want to accomplish in the new year. Because right now is probably the best time to do that because it gives us some time to think about it and start preparing for what do we want. What do we want the first week in January to look like? What do we want the first month of the year to look like? And do we have a goal in mind? Do we have an end goal in mind that is something that we can break down into small daily steps? Because that's what successful people do, and that's who's on this call. There's people that are wanting to become more successful, not just as real estate investors or real estate professionals, but it's to me it's a lot more than that. You know, Albert, you and I we've talked about these things all the time. Real estate's not our number one priority. For us and our companies, God, family, then business, being a better dad, better husband, better business partner, better friend, you know.
Absolutely.
So those things matter. And so what we're going to talk today kind of ties all that together, right?
hmm Yeah. I mean, I'm with you, Austin. I usually right this last quarter is not really a time to slack off. It's really a time to just kind of lock in. I think a lot of people just in the real estate industry over the past couple of years have kind of struggled and gotten out of the business. There's still people getting into the business as well, which we love. But this last few months of the year, I also kind of reflect on the previous, on the year that's passing
Hmm.
and really kind of sets the stage for our goals for the upcoming year. It's like
Right.
what did we learn? Did we accomplish our goals this year? And if we didn't, why? Right? Like what happened?
Yeah.
And every year is an opportunity every day, right? But we're gonna blow it out from a year perspective. And I know we're
Hmm.
gonna kind of dig in and get down to the daily activities you should be doing to achieve your goals. But it's like, you know, every year, every month, week, day, you should be working to improve yourself. And ways that we improve ourselves is, through our processes and things
Yeah.
like that. Even if it's like not just business related. You were talking about, God, family, faith, like all those things, and just getting into prayer time, right? Your quiet
Hmm.
time, right? That silence and that solitude, and that just does wonders. We'll talk about some of that today. That's some of the things that have helped me on a daily basis, but we'll get there.
Yes, absolutely. It all ties together. It all comes together. Um, we live in a, we live in a crazy society. There's a lot of noise going on, and it takes a lot of work to cut through that noise. I get that. That's important. But it takes, I think just as important as cutting through the noise is like you said, it's finding tranquility. It's
Mhm.
finding that solitude, that moment of silence. And you, I mean, don't get me, AI is crazy. There's so much that's going to happen in the next 12 months that we have absolutely no choice in our profession but to be at the cutting edge of what's happening with technology. And I'm not ignoring that at all. But you have to be just as intentional at finding that moment of silence, the small little things just to be, grateful for. You and I, one thing we have in common is we're outside all the time. That's one of the ways you and I became friends, just
Mhm.
going out, hitting the dirt, just getting dirty, just getting out there, you know, before the sun even comes up. And,
Mhm.
being intentional with that, because if we can't enjoy just going outside and just enjoying creation, enjoying moments with our family and just having time with, our loved ones and doing things that we enjoy, what's the point
What's
of
the point?
putting all this together and working hard? So the goals that we're going to talk about are twofold. They're personal just as much as they pertain to what we want to accomplish in business. And I will be the first to say there are things that we can accomplish in business that are going to make your personal life better. There are things that now if prioritize your focus so you get everything out of line, your business goals can end up hurting your family if you don't prioritize it right. So we'll talk about some strategies on how they can become a blessing, how your work should be a blessing and not a burden, right?
For sure, man. Yeah, for sure. I agree with all that. Yeah,
So I have a few tools. So we're gonna break down how you're investing like a true business. We're gonna start with a couple of tools that I use, but before we get into it, we're gonna talk about four tools, and I can share my screen. Also, if you're on the call or if you're seeing this on YouTube or if you're listening, if you just text me your email address at 281-729-6604, or you can leave your email address in the comments if you want, or you can direct message me. I will send you these four tools for free. I didn't write these tools. They're from our company. But number one's the GPS. Number two, we'll talk about the 411. Number three is an annual growth plan. And number four is not a tool, it's just your calendar. You already have that if you have paper and technology. So Albert, tell us a little bit about your approach to goal setting, because obviously you're a goal oriented person. How do you approach this?
I mean, I think at least how I look at it is I just kind of start with the end in mind, right? I mean, that's the goal, but that goal is going to achieve like something greater,
Hmm.
whether that's financial freedom, there's numbers associated with that, what number is that? Or if we're talking about business at this moment for this is, what amount of passive income, right, from rental properties in our business will support or help our lifestyle grow, right?
Hmm.
Or how many people can we help along the way?
Right.
Um, those are like those big goals that we set per year. Um, that's primarily on the business side. And then obviously, like for well, not necessarily obviously, but me personally, I have spiritual goals, right? And I have personal goals, like personal growth goals, like number of books I want to read for the
Yeah.
year, number of lunches I want to have with people, that not necessarily to get something out of them for business, but really to get to know people and just be more
Hmm.
intentional. So those are things that I just kind of start to think about around this time of year. like we mentioned at the beginning. I started thinking about these things because I'm 50 now too, and I just kind of always get a little bit reflective, a
Hmm.
lot more reflective, I think, than I used to be when I was younger.
Sure.
Because I mean, the truth of the matter is my time or all of our time is limited, but now, right now I just kind of feel like my time is very limited. So
Right.
I want to make the best use of it and like setting these goals and then prioritizing them, putting strategies in place and getting all the way down to like what am I doing weekly and daily
Right.
that's going to move me forward to those goals.
Yeah.
That's really
Absolutely.
how I look at it, man. And we talk to our kids about it too. We actually on New Year's Day, we all get together and I think this has gone back maybe 5 or 6 years now, where we'll set our personal goals for the year,
Nice.
and we'll write them down. We'll write them down in
Good.
a notebook, right? And then we'll check in. I'll check in with them. They're still young. I'll check in with them throughout the year, and some of them they hit, and some of them they don't, and we just kind of regroup at the
Yeah.
end of the year and start again.
Do they get into it? They get excited about it, or it's something they've come to
They are.
expect?
I don't know. I don't know if they're excited because they know I'll get excited if they're excited. But I'm just trying to just instill in them that things don't just happen if you're not intentional
Right.
about it. Like you want something, you have a goal, whatever it is, you can't just wish for it.
Hmm.
You can pray on it, but that's not a wish,
Right.
and you have to work for it. And you have to put these smaller things in place to get there.
Yeah.
So, but that's really my goal
Yeah.
in teaching them this every year. We go through it. Sometimes they're into it, sometimes they're not, but maybe 10, 20, 30 years from now, they'll be teaching their kids and things like that.
It's a great opportunity, and that's very exciting because a lot of people, especially our children, may not realize what we're truly capable of accomplishing in just a year. For instance,
Mm,
when obviously we got to put our mind to it, but come up with a plan and stick to the plan, commit to the plan, and it's a very powerful thing because
mhm,
progress and consistency has a compound. It's like compound interest. If you build a streak, you start to see results, and results start to come faster and faster as you get more momentum in your activities. So, I think it's worth mentioning the classic model. You said write it down. You said being very specific. So I want to hit SMART real quick because
mhm,
if you're watching this video, if you know what this is, good. If you don't know what this is, you need to memorize this right now. It's five things, five measurables in regards to goal setting. SMART. It needs to be specific. So easy example. I want to get in better shape. That's not a goal. That's not a SMART goal. We all want to be in better shape.
yeah.
What does that look like specifically? Well, if you say, "Oh, I want to lose 25 pounds this year," okay, that's getting closer, but it's still not tied to whatever you weigh now.
Hmm.
If your goal is by the end, I want to be X amount of pounds, write that down. Okay, now that you know where you want to be and you've identified, you probably have a good idea of where you start. And by the way, people that weigh themselves weigh less than people that don't weigh themselves. That's science right there.
Mm,
So tracking. So that's the second criteria. It's got to be measurable. So if it's income, I want to make more money. That's not a goal. That's not a smart goal. If you say I want to build a net worth of $1 million, okay, that's specific. You got
mhm.
to know where you are and then where you want to go, and then we'll build the rest later. So it's got to be measurable. If it's bench press, I want to bench press 200 pounds. You
I
know,
bench pressed 225 this morning.
dang, dude. Okay, that's my goal. I,
Yeah.
I don't think I could ever do that. Maybe,
It
maybe
was
that should.
ugly, but it was ugly, but I got I cut it up.
That's impressive. That's a lot of dang weight, dude.
Thanks, man.
And then it's got to be achievable. I don't know if 225 is achievable for me, but maybe I should go for it. 500
Well,
pounds, that's not going to
you
happen.
you need to set smart goals to get there. You just don't
Yeah.
go out there tomorrow and try to lift that.
Yeah, I'll hurt myself. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not going to happen. So number one, it's got to be specific. Number two, it needs to be measurable.
Mhm.
Number three, it needs to be achievable or attainable. You have to be able to do it. So for me to, you know, join the NBA, that's not on the table at all. To finish an ultra marathon, that's a stretch, but it's not off the table, right?
Not off the table. No.
Relevant, I think that's important too. It's
Mhm.
it's got to have something to do with something. Being relevant, it means that the goal has to matter to you.
Right.
It has to matter with your business, your organization, or your family, and it has to align with your other priorities. And then finally, time bound. And this is probably the most important thing because there's no goal if you don't have a deadline for it. Now you can make tweaks and changes, but start off your goal. So be thinking about this as we begin this exercise. So I'm gonna share my screen here, and I'm gonna talk about first is this is a tool we use on our team. It's called the GPS. This is our
Yeah.
main goal. So say our one goal, and you want to you don't want 100 goals. You probably don't even want 10 goals. I would say you want 3 goals at the most. You may have a lot of other little goals. Now, sometimes when we have multiple goals and we're like, I want to accomplish all these things.
Mhm.
Well, number one, um, if you chase two rabbits, you will not catch one. So that's old wisdom, right? So let's focus on if you were going to accomplish absolutely one thing, what is the most important, powerful, impactful thing that you can accomplish in 12 months, and just focus on that. Now, you may have some other activities or things that you want to accomplish that if they support that goal, that's great.
Mhm.
So, say our one thing is 1 million net worth, for instance. Okay. So, I need to know if I'm at 1 million, where I am, how much more I need to go there. So, in real estate investing, Albert challenged everyone a couple of weeks ago. You've you've got to analyze deals. You've got to lead gen. We know there's certain activities that are important. So, Albert, I will ask you this in regards to building a net worth, a high net worth in your real estate portfolio.
Mhm.
What what are the top three priorities, top three activities throughout the year that would contribute to to acquiring that much real estate?
Oh, to acquire that much real estate, I mean, really, I think the first priority is you have to put in offers.
Yeah,
And that's tied into analyzing deals. What we talked about, during that session was the challenge was easy, right? Which was analyze a deal a day for 90 days.
yeah,
And that, I mean, over that amount of time, you're going to get good at what you do. But putting in offers, I mean, it's something that we teach our students all the time is you're not going to build your net worth through real estate if you're
hmm,
just in analysis paralysis, you're just looking at Zillow and you maybe go walk some properties. If you're not taking that action and putting in offers, you're not going to build that net worth. So that's like first and foremost, like one of the most important things is putting in offers. And it's kind of like it's a numbers game, right? Austin
hmm,
is you think to yourself, okay, then you can go back from that too. It's like, okay, well, how do I find these deals? Right?
right,
You can look on the MLS, you can how many agents did you talk to?
yeah,
How many wholesalers did you talk to? Great. Get on a bunch of these buyers lists. I mean, on a bunch of these wholesalers buyers lists. You start getting things into your email. And you just kind of reverse engineer this thing, which is kind of what we talked about before, right? We reverse engineer this thing is once you get an offer accepted and you have to track this data, right? We have to measure it, you
yes,
know. If we're not measuring it, it doesn't matter, right? So you measure your analytics. I got this offer accepted and it took me 30 offers to get there. And from those 30 offers, I actually analyzed 90 deals, 90 leads. And from those 90 leads, 30 of them were good deals that I wanted to make offers on. I wrote those offers and I got one deal out of it, right?
Hmm.
It's like, okay, great. Well, if I want to get 5 deals, I've got to analyze 450 leads. Yeah, I mean, that's
Yeah.
just pretty plain and simple. I mean, it sounds daunting, right? Yeah, it does if you're trying to do that in a month. But if your goal is to get maybe 3 deals, 3 rental properties in a year, right? That's just 270 deals you have to analyze in a year. I mean, you can take how many, what, 60, 90? You can take 3 months off and not do anything,
There you go.
right? If you're just analyzing a deal a day,
A deal a day.
right?
Yeah.
270. I mean, we're just throwing some numbers out there, right, Austin? But to me, those are things that are my priorities is deal analysis, right? Creating that lead, that deal flow and writing offers. Like that's going to move the needle for you.
So priority one is right qualified offers. So
Yes.
whether you're wanting to buy one rental house or if you're wanting to acquire 120 units, we have to write offers. And
Yes.
so that's the priority is to write offers.
Hmm.
That's going to require a couple of strategies, and that's where the S comes in. So you mentioned there are a list of activities that go into play before you can write qualified offers. You mentioned deal analysis, and
Hmm.
we can get a specific, one deal a day.
Yeah.
Talk to agents. Maybe it's just one a day
Yeah.
or five a day. Wholesalers, one a week.
Hmm.
Get on a wholesale list. Get on a buyer list. You don't
Hmm.
need to be on all the buyer lists, but you may need to be on 12, maybe one a month,
Hmm.
you know, and just get an idea, start getting an idea of, and we can tweak these and you don't have to copy anybody else. You can just put whatever you think. But the beautiful thing about this model is you put what you think and then you start testing it and you can make tweaks based on the outcome. So you're going to have three priorities, write qualified offers and, go on a certain amount of appointments or go on a certain amount of events or,
Or how
add.
many properties, are you walking? When you're talking to agents and wholesalers and getting on lists, one of those things too that you want to do is you want to go to meetups.
Yeah.
You have to get from behind your computer.
Yeah.
Um, like for instance, I'll give you an example. So, we were looking at a potential lot that we were going to build on. And, I've got software that can show me like, okay, great, how many new properties are being built in this area. I can look and see how many new construction properties have sold within the last 6, 12, 18 months,
Hmm.
right? And that gives me data from behind the computer. But I went and drove the area. I mean, and it's in a like literally 2 streets over is where we're planning to build a duplex, and it's a completely different neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's a completely different vibe where that other lead was. And if I'm only looking at my computer and I'm not walking properties or I'm not, talking to investors in the area, I'm going to get in trouble
Yeah.
thinking like, hey, this is a good deal. But literally, there's 2 streets that separate the good deals from the bad deals,
Yeah.
But if you're stuck behind your computer and you're just running numbers and putting them in a spreadsheet, you're gonna get yourself in trouble.
Yeah.
So that other priority really is, from my perspective, is getting out there, getting yourself out there, get from behind your computer and walking properties, going to meetups as well, because that's going to help you with some of those action items that you're taking for priority one,
Yeah.
like talking to agents and wholesalers and getting on buyers lists. Again, you can do this from your computer. There's a bunch of real estate Facebook groups out there where you can just
Yeah.
put your email address in there, but I like talking to people and especially wholesalers
Hmm.
and meeting them face to face and then setting up like a coffee or something
Yeah.
afterwards.
Yeah.
Because when you're in a meetup, it's kind of loud and people are maybe drinking and things like that. And if it's somebody that has some deals and they want to talk about some deals, I'm like, cool, let me get your contact information. Let's get some coffee later this week and let's
Right.
kind of go over to see like I want my goals and their goals to kind of mesh, you know. So I'm not just getting like their deals don't just like get lost in all the noise because they're just forwarding me everything,
Right.
you know.
So walking properties, networking events, have a specific idea of how many these networking events are powerful if you go to the right ones.
Oh yeah.
I know a lot of people they go to
Gotcha.
networking events just for the free booze. But
No, I mean, I'm going to networking events. Number one is to, I mean, I could be like I go there to provide value, because we've got a lot of experience. People ask me questions about raising money, about finding deals, about can you walk this property? What do you think about this deal? What do you think about
yeah,
this agent or whatever, right? So
you have to. It's critical with you go to these events that you understand what the goal of the event is.
right.
Is it are you just going just to get your name out there? I think I don't like it when people say that. I'm just going to go so people, get my name out there. That to me that sounds like you're missing out on really where the opportunity is.
Mhm.
If you're saying, I want to make 5 strategic connections with people, add them to my database and follow up with them,
Yeah.
5 people that I can see myself doing business with. Maybe I need a commercial lender, or maybe I need, a different type of wholesaler that focuses on a certain aspect, or a developer that, focuses on retail. Start building that database. I would say as you're building that database, whether you're an investor or a real estate agent, get on ChatGPT or some AI and say, this is what I'm trying to accomplish. Who do I need in my world?
Mhm.
You need good contractors. You need good developers. You need a good hard money lenders and commercial lenders and residential lenders. Like you need to start building that arsenal. Networking events are usually a pretty good place to build those connections, but it's not the only place. If you don't have that end goal in mind, it's you're just going for a good time. So
Mhm. Yeah. No, that's a good point.
second tool I love. This is very powerful, and this is where you really start to break things down specifically. So
Oh yeah.
we're gonna say um, we'll say let's acquire. Let's say our big goal is to acquire, I don't know, 500,000 in equity in in real estate. Let's just say buy. We can make this simple. So this is the big goal. And so below here, what I like to do is I like to just break that down because buying $500,000 in real estate, it could be 5 million. It doesn't really matter. I like 5 million actually.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
With your double comma club. Okay.
Yeah,
Let's
man.
go.
Yeah, because I can't count zeros if they're more than three. So then how would you break that down? So I need to write offers. How many offers do I need? How many units? Maybe it's a units count. Maybe I need 10 units at 500K per unit. And if I'm going to buy 10 units, I need to write I might need to write, you said how many offers before one's accepted?
30 offers.
So I need to put 20 under contract because I hate to tell everybody this, but in this market, half these deals are blowing up. So if I'm going to put 20 under contract, I need to write 600
100
offers.
offers.
Now, that's that's a huge number.
Yeah.
However, when you break this down, this is way more actionable. Like these kind of goals are more lag measures. This is your leading measure right here. All you got to do is divide it by 12, which I'm sure most of us can do this in their head. 600 divided by 12. I need to write number 4, 50. Oop, it's not letting me type with this thing on. 50 offers. And that may mean that I write 12 offers a month. I mean, 50 offers a month and 12 offers a week,
Hmm.
which will come out to about 2 or 3 a day. I mean, that's pretty ambitious.
That's an ambitious goal too, though.
Yeah, but
Like,
writing 3 offers a day, if you're a serious buyer and you're looking at 3 deals a day, why not send an offer on every single property that you see or every other property that you see? You don't you don't have to wait until you find the property that's priced right. You're the buyer. You choose the price. This is why you have to submit a lot of prop offers on properties. Why? Because everything that's not selling is overpriced right now. So I hear a lot of people, oh, I don't know if I want to submit an offer. I don't want to insult the seller. Well, the seller is insulting everyone by their by overpricing listing.
That's a good point.
So
That's a good point because I think I've been that seller before. Yeah,
the seller is
but
insulting everyone.
yeah.
Okay, so what is the point of this exercise? This 411 is going to get you to where mac macro. Now, if I'm going to write 3 offers a day, I do think that's ambitious, but it's not impossible.
Mm-mm.
It may take 3 hours a day. Well, that's where, and I'm not going to pull up my calendar right now. This has to be on your calendar, and your calendar will certainly reflect your goals. And it's going to reflect what you do accomplish. I don't think, I could be wrong, but I seriously doubt that there's anybody hitting big goals, tracking their big goals, and they're not time blocking that every day.
Right.
And I know there's a lot of myths when it comes to time blocking, that it takes away freedom. People say the same thing about keeping a budget, but the people that do it know that those people are wrong. A budget
It
equals
gives you
freedom.
freedom.
What's that?
It gives you freedom.
It provides freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it really it limits anxiety and frustration, and it takes a lot of the guessing out of it.
It eliminates a lot of the unknown as well. I mean, you're not gonna go through life with no unknowns, but you're
Hmm.
minimizing how many gotchas happen to you throughout the year when
Yeah.
you budget, when you time block, when you set these goals and you drill down, right? Like we just did. Because you just think to yourself, you just go through the whole year saying, okay, I'm going to acquire 5 million in real estate, but you don't really have a vehicle of how to get there. You're seeing the destination, right? A friend of mine, it's interesting. A friend of mine was talking to me this morning about, having your GPS, right?
Hmm.
It's like we can all get in our cars and drive to Austin,
Yeah.
and you can drive without a map and just you'll probably end up getting there, eventually,
Hmm.
but probably making some wrong turns, getting through some detours and things like that. Or, right, you plug it into your Google Maps and then you plug it in, you plug your phone into your car and you'll get there a lot
Right.
faster,
Yeah.
and that's kind of how I look at this is what we just did, is you created this map of how
Exactly.
to get to that destination.
Exactly. And the difference between these two tools is your GPS is you set it, you put it on your wall where you can see it. This 4-in-1 is a living document. You're going to fold this up and put it under your pillow at night. You're going to update this top section before January. And then you're going to update January, so your monthly goals. And what I recommend doing is a spreadsheet is good because you can keep different months of the year under there.
Mhm.
So you're going to redo January. And this is where this becomes very powerful is every month you're going to come in here and set your goals. Now, here's the first mistake. A lot of people will do this. Copy, paste, paste, paste. That's not how you do it. What what you're going to do for week 1 is you're going to say, "Okay, I'm going to make 25 contacts." I'm going to identify the specific actions I need to take that week to get me closer to, whatever that number is,
Mhm.
500K, right? And then I'm going to get to Friday or I'm going to get to Sunday night and say, I only made 15 contacts. I think this week I'm either going to make 35 contacts or I'm going to make 30 and 30, and you're going to tweak. So what you don't want to do, you want to update this every week. In week 2, you're going to tweak that based on how well you performed in week 1, which requires you to do what?
Well, you got to track this.
You got to track it. You
Yeah.
have to track it. You don't get in an airplane unless you're confident that the pilot knows how to track the wind speed and the temperature and the GPS and the hundreds and hundreds of dials. You don't You don't go under the knife and get surgery unless you're confident that the doctor knows how to track your blood pressure and all the different vitals. I'm not a doctor. I am a real estate agent. I know how to
Same
track all
thing.
that. These numbers I know, but you'd
Yeah.
be surprised. There's a lot of agents they don't know all that. Anyways, as a business owner, especially whether you're real estate investing or you're running a restaurant or a snow cone stand, it doesn't matter. If you want to grow that business and have a healthy business, you got to track those numbers and you got to have
Mhm.
some goals. And so this is the only this is one model. There's hundreds of models similar to this, but the process of identifying a very specific goal, going narrow on what that ultimate goal is, and then breaking it down into bite-sized pieces, and then finally putting it on your calendar, and your calendar is going to reflect your goals. So that's the difference between um, the GPS and the 4-in-1. I love this tool. This is the growth plan. Albert, you mentioned reading books. We talked about seminars. Go ahead and get this going as well. This is a great thing to do now before the end of the year. What conferences are you planning on go to? Just go ahead and put it on here. What books? I'll go ahead and put one or two books every month that I want to read. I'll just kind of
Yeah.
schedule that out. I'm not perfect at it, but I'm pretty good at this. I know you're reading a lot of books too. What classes do you want to take? What certifications do you want to take? Do you need, want to get an extra license or, whatever? Put that in your growth plan. This looks good on the wall, and then finally put it on it again. It's got to be on your calendar.
You have to put it on your calendar. Yeah, you have to put it on your calendar. You have to get set up your reminders. It like what I'm hearing through all of this, and we've taught really what is kind of been, I don't know, the backbone is the right word, or just this, main valve through what we've been teaching for how many months we've been doing this is you have to be intentional. Like these things don't, you can get lucky. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Everyone can get lucky, but if you're putting in the action and you're being intentional,
Hmm.
then that you'll be higher probability that you'll get lucky more often,
Yeah.
you know? So you just have to be intentional. Like that's all I'm hearing right now is take action, be intentional. It's not just going to happen overnight. You can't wish it to happen. I love this. And you have to put it in your calendar. Like
Yeah.
if it's not in my calendar or our family calendar, honestly, it's just not going to happen.
It doesn't exist, right?
It does not exist. I write some notes down, and Julia just wonders, like, how do you remember all this stuff? I said, honestly, I have cues that is visual cues, or it's in if it's not in my calendar, it's a visual cue, or you'll remind me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but
No, you can't rely on your memory.
no,
I
no.
can't. I have so many systems in place. Like if I ever lose my memory for good, I can probably get pretty far before anybody realizes what's going on. So
Yeah.
it's bad. But like you said, I heard John Maxwell say it once. You don't go uphill on accident. Success is not an accident.
Mm-mm.
You're only going to win on purpose, and it takes intentionality and rigor.
Mm-mm.
But to go back to how we started, it's just as important to time block the small things. Time block that quiet time block that time with your family or your spouse or your partner. Like
Mm-hmm.
those things are because again, if we make all this money and build this empire, have these big businesses, and we're working 60, 70, 80 hours a week, what's the point?
What's the point? Yeah.
What's the point there? So, but be specific and you'll be more efficient with your time. So,
Yes. All
and
right. What's next?
that's it, man. So here's the action steps. 5 steps to take. Number one, build the GPS for the year. And again, if you want to see this model, text me your email address. Sit in the deer blind. Amen. Yes. Uh, and if you want these tools, send me your email address and I'll share it with you. So number one, build that GPS for the year. This is your goals, it's your priorities, and it's your strategies. The strategies, and it's going to take a lot of brainstorming, crossing stuff out, erasing things, and redoing it and playing with it. Show it to somebody. It needs to make sense to other people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here. I'm happy to look at your GPS if you want to share that with me. And then your 4-in-1. The 4-in-1, you're going to update that just about every week. That's where the 4-in-1 becomes powerful because as you track your activity, you'll be able to make tweaks and adjustments and you'll get a sense of what's reasonable. You know, we always want to be stretching, we always want to be pushing ourselves, but we want to be realistic with what we're doing. And then three, fill out your annual growth plan and send that copy to you, and then time block. Stick to that time block.
Yeah,
That's important.
that's super important.
And then I like to review my 4-in-1 on Sundays. Sometimes I'll do it on Monday mornings, but some people like to do Fridays. You know, Friday afternoon is a good time to do it. I'm ready to clock out at 3:30 on Fridays. So I'm more of a Sunday guy myself. That's actually also a good time to track your net worth. And I did another video about tracking your net worth as well.
Yeah, I'm kind of a Sunday evening guy too, or Sunday during the day kind of guy. Um, just figuring out sometimes really to kind of look at the week that passed. You know, what did I hit? What did I miss? And getting on track if I fell off track a little bit, both personal and professional. You know, whether like personal, for instance, maybe I didn't eat so great over the weekend, right? Okay, cool. You know, let's get back on track, right? Or I had it on my calendar to reach out to so and so because they said they needed something, right? I follow up with a lot of texts too on Sunday to
Hmm.
get ready for the following week as well, because I have people that text me over the weekend, and sometimes I get busy doing family stuff, and I just don't have an opportunity to reply right away.
Yeah.
And I hate notifications, so I'll forget, right? So
Hmm.
then I've made it a habit of mine now to kind of check in on my phone on Sunday afternoons and go back just through all of my text messages. Like, okay, cool. What did I miss? I try to reply to yours and Richard's text messages and phone calls right away, but
You're pretty good.
everyone else, yeah, everyone else, I'm just, I'll catch up with them on Sunday, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Liz. Appreciate you being on the call. Next week, we're going to continue uh, in our investor mindset series. We got a November series. We're going to be talking about tracking the right numbers. So we got into that a little bit. We're going to make this applicable. So we're going to give you some tools and some ways that you can start tracking those activities, understanding like your conversion ratios from contact all the way to close, offers, LOIs. If we have time, we can break down LOIs and closings as well.
Mhm.
And then the 24th, that's the week before Thanksgiving, staying consistent without burning out. Good stuff planned for the month. And then,
Yeah.
yeah, scaling in December. So, man, appreciate you, brother. Thank you, everybody, for being on the call. Don't forget, we are on YouTube. Go find us on YouTube, like and subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and write comments, and log in with other profiles and make comments there. I'm just kidding. And then we are on Spotify. Thanks, Rick. Appreciate you, brother. We're on Spotify. We will be on Apple very soon. We will tell you. And we're somewhere else. Oh, we're on Facebook. So we're streaming
Facebook.
live on Facebook. In fact, I forgot to check Facebook comments, but I didn't see any. No, nobody commented. You can always comment on Facebook, but all right. Well, brother, have a good week.
All right,
Everybody,
man. You
thank you for
too.
turning in to REI 101. This was episode 29. Have a great week. Bye.
Bye.